Do you feel like you always go into a talking stage relaxed and ready to allow that man to pursue you, only to end up desperately chasing after him in the end? Isn't it confusing and frustrating how you end up doing everything for a relationship that you never intended to do in the first place? Well, what if I told you that's because men are experts at tricking you into chasing them while simultaneously giving you nothing in return? Which is why on today's show, we're gonna be discussing all the signs you need to know that a man is baiting you into chasing him. That way, as soon as he begins to play these tricks on you to get you to do the most, you already know how to scale back your time, energy, and attention so you don't waste it on him. Point number one is about proving yourself. Now, this is a great bait tactic for men because when they can get you in this mindset's very important. He can already set the table for you to take certain actions that you wouldn't ordinarily take unless you were in this mind frame. Okay, now I had to label this because I don't know if some of you would realize what this is, but it's a trophy here. And the reason I drew this trophy is because there's certain words and rhetoric that a man will use on you in order to get you in prove it mode, where you feel like it's necessary for you to show him something in order for you to be seen as a worthy partner to him. Let's say he says, oh, the type of girl I want in my life is a girl who would text me 24/7 every 5 minutes, right? You're looking at this trophy, and this trophy here really represents being a wife, okay? That's the ultimate trophy that you're trying to get towards. So when you meet a guy that you like, and he starts telling you about his criteria for a wife, and he starts telling you how his expectation for a wife is that she'll text him every 5 minutes, right? You start to anticipate, well, if that's the case, I'm gonna have to do these certain things the way that he wants them done and work for him in order to get to this trophy, which is being his wife. But here's the thing about that. When you get into this mindset where you think that it's necessary for you to prove yourself to him in order to get access to him, or in order for you to date him, or in order for him to take you seriously, now we're fighting a losing battle. Because once you get into prove it mode as a woman, it's very easy to start getting you to chase the entire relationship. Because instead of you theoretically chasing after himself, like the person, you're chasing after this outcome. So here's the trick about it. He's getting you to prove yourself, not necessarily even directly to him. He's getting you to prove yourself to this trophy, which in this case is to be worthy of being a wife. I want you to come in, even though we talk about wifey elements and the ways men will test you, I want you to come in having already understood that you've worked on yourself enough to be worthy of being a wife. Hopefully you have been doing that and been investing in yourself. But what I don't want is for you to change any elements of what we want you to be doing in order for you to attract men and get them to pursue you in order to be more of what he says he wants. Because here's the real trick of the prove yourself mantra for men. Anytime they ask you to prove yourself, majority of the time, whatever they're asking you to do won't actually really be about being a better wife. It'll really be about serving him in a way that's more advantageous to him. For example, the 5-minute text, I'll put it here so you guys don't forget it, right? The 5-minute texter, or you becoming a textaholic where you reach out to him any time of the day, no matter what you're doing, right? It seems like, okay, well, harmless. I'll make sure I do that work so I can get that trophy. But in reality, as you're proving yourself that way, you're not doing anything that actually benefits you. You're not even proving anything to him. Aside from the fact that you're willing to bend over backwards in any way, shape, or form to get to this outcome, to get to this trophy. And then once you start doing that, it's very easy to transition you into doing more and more extreme things to try and get you to prove yourself to him. You're supposed to be the one receiving his pursuit. You're supposed to be the one receiving him and deciding for yourself based on how good or horrible of a man he is, whether you want to allow him to continuously have access to you. But you want to know how you stop thinking like that? The moment you start thinking about how you're going to prove yourself to him. Now he's got you right where he wants you. You won't be thinking about how horrible of a human he is, how useless of a man he is, how broke he is, if you're the one thinking about how you need to prove yourself to him, okay? Point number 2 is about engagement and how guys will get you to engage while simultaneously leaving you hanging, okay? So I've given just a simple example of someone texting you, for example, and the guy says, hey, guess what? Guess what happened to me? Guess what I did? Guess where I am? Guess what in general? And you're obviously going to be curious, well, what is it? You're asking me, guess what? I don't know what it is. Is this a surprise? Is it something you did? Did you cheat on me? Are you making me your wife? Are you proposing? What is the thing? And then he replies with nothing, like literally doesn't say anything to you. And you're sitting there like, wait, what is it? Tell me what it is. What's going on? What are you doing? What are you saying? What are you trying to tell me? What is it that we have? What's the thing? And so this is an example of how guys will engage with you, whether it be through text or whether it be even through conversation. And they'll engage with you in a way that piques your interest, and piques your interest just enough that when they walk away, or when they stop talking to you, or when they don't respond to you, or when they don't reply to you, now you're like, wait a second. No, tell me. I need to know. I need to understand more. And it forces you to lean in. There's like a psychological element to that. But especially in a romantic relationship, when a guy is trying to engage you and then leave you hanging, we don't want you to respond to that at all, okay? In fact, I just want you to leave it right where it is. I know it's tempting. And I know when guys do things like this, you're really, because for some of you, you hate the mystery of not knowing. And you really want to get to the bottom of it. You want to kind of solve the mystery, so to speak. But you have to let it go. You have to let go of the feeling of desire to uncover what that mystery is, especially when a guy will engage with you, whether it be over text or over the phone, and just kind of leave you hanging. Because these are the type of things that once they happen on a regular enough basis, it drives you just crazy enough that you start feeling like it's necessary for you to take matters into your own hands in order to get your answers. And the problem with that, someone just said it in the chat, the problem with that is it can send you down a rabbit hole. It can send you down the proverbial spiral where when you start saying to yourself, I don't give a damn, I want answers and I need to figure out what it is, you're not gonna engage me and just leave me hanging. You'll go down a spiral where as you do more to try and get more answers and solve this mystery, you'll begin doing more, I should say, extreme things to try and get to the bottom of this answer because you've spent so much time trying to get to the bottom of this answer. So that's how you kind of spiral out of control, and you can even spiral into like what we can call a crash out moment, right? And what a crash out moment essentially is where you just go crazy on him and explode on him because you've done so much work trying to get to the bottom of this, trying to understand the situation, trying to understand why he did this thing, why he left you hanging, why he hasn't given you answers in this way. And now that you're fed up with the fact that you haven't gotten answers, you just go crazy on him. Point number 3 is about future talk. Now, I'm not talking about the musician Future, the rapper Future. I'm talking about future talk from the standpoint of how guys will do this thing. Let me just explain it. Let's say you have a Monday here, right? This is Monday. And on Monday, he says, look, I really, really love spending time with you. And today is Monday here, but I love spending so much time with you and I love being around you so much that next Tuesday, I really, really, really want to go on a sushi date with you, okay? So we'll put here X equals sushi date. And he says, yeah, this sushi date, we're going to do this next Tuesday. Oh, we're going to go out. You haven't had sushi like this before. We're not just going to any regular old sushi spot. We're going to the Michelin star sushi spot in my city downtown. We're going to this Michelin star sushi spot, me and you. We're going to enjoy it. I've never been there. I know you've never been there. Oh, our socks are going to be knocked off. And you're like, oh, I love sushi. Sushi's my favorite. I can't wait till Tuesday when we go on our sushi date. So exciting. And this is the problem. Okay, as he talks about this future experience of what's to come, then you have Monday happens, okay? Or sorry, Monday happens, and then Tuesday happens, Wednesday happens, Thursday happens, the entire week happens, and when you finally get to Tuesday, when you guys are supposed to go out on this date, he hasn't really confirmed with you any time or date or even location where you guys are actually meeting. He's just talked about a sushi spot, but there's multiple sushi spots that you guys could possibly go to. There's multiple franchises that you could go to that are all kind of close. You don't really know exactly what you're doing and when you're doing it. And so now you're on the Tuesday and you're asking yourself, wait a second. I don't have answers here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know when we're going. I don't even know if I should still be getting ready. This is a very dangerous place to be in because now you feel like, but we have a sushi date planned for Tuesday. and it sounded so amazing and so good. And I feel like I really want to go on this sushi date. I feel like if I don't say anything, there's a possibility we might never go out on this sushi date. So now you start to experience a little bit of FOMO that you might not be able to enjoy this awesome sushi date because you guys didn't confirm the time and the place. When really it was his job when he brought it up to confirm the time and the place with you. Now, this is where the bait happens, because now that he's given you this exciting idea of the sushi date to come, one day of the month where you guys are going to spend time with each other, you're going to have the most amazing sushi, it's going to go right to in between your legs and you're going to be so stimulated, you're going to feel so good. Now that you already have that in your mind, you feel like you need to chase after him in order to extract that experience. So in a weird way, he's now dangled the possible experience in front of you in order to get you to lean forward and say, oh, the sushi date, I want this, I want this, I want the sushi date, right? And that's the thing. That's part of the psychology. They entice you with something that they know you want. You know you like going to Nobu, don't you? You want to go for shisha? You like shisha? And when they entice you with an experience that they know you would want to go to, that they know you would want to be a part of, they know that they can use that. Let's say they don't follow through with that. Or let's say they're very hot and cold with that experience. Or let's say they don't confirm with you about that experience. Now, all of a sudden, that experience is what you're chasing after. But because he's the one that promised you that experience, you end up chasing after him in the process of chasing after that experience. So what must you do in that scenario where he promises you the sushi date on Tuesday? He doesn't reach out to you or let you know any time, location, place, or setup of how you guys are actually going to go through with the sushi date on Tuesday. You say nothing. I know it's hard. I know it's painful. I know you're going to say to yourself, but Tomisin, I'm not going to be able to go on the sushi date if we don't confirm. Yes. You're not going to be able to go on the sushi date if you don't confirm. But the whole point of him asking you out on a sushi date is for him to be the one who plans and confirms the sushi date. Do you understand? Not for him to say, let's go on a sushi date and then never follow through with the plan. And you're sitting there like Boo Boo the Fool with all your Fenty makeup done and nowhere to actually go. Point number 4 is about flirting. Now, flirting can be very fun, but also frustrating. Let's imagine a scenario in which you're talking to a guy who you work with, and constantly on a regular basis, you and this guy do some flirting back and forth. But even though you guys do some casual flirting, you never really get past this level with him, right? You might go down past surface level and get personal, but you never, ever, ever pass to get into the trauma stage or to get into the naked stage, which the reason I describe it as naked, I just mean emotionally naked. Now, here's the thing. While you start working with this guy and you guys are casually flirting, maybe that's perfectly fine. But let's say you guys actually start dating outside of the workplace, even though I don't advise you to be dating coworkers. Let's just say, for example, now, as you guys transition to going outside of the workplace, you're expecting that your relationship will take the next level and go a little bit deeper in your conversation, go a little bit deeper in the emotional intimacy and all of that good stuff. However, even when you guys start dating outside the workplace seriously, let's say now you guys aren't even working together anymore, you're literally just dating each other, you still get stuck right around here and you never really get too deep into the relationship. Now, here's a very interesting idea that I want you to be paying attention to, because see, certain guys will purposely withhold you on an emotional standpoint in terms of the depth that they go with you. And see, for some of you that like that depth, like that emotional intimacy, when you like a guy, this can actually push you to begin chasing a little bit more. See, now we've transitioned it from chasing after an experience, you're chasing after the intimacy. You're chasing after more depth in the relationship. So now you feel like, well, I need to get more out of you. I'm not getting enough. I'm not receiving enough. So then the entire relationship becomes about you chasing after getting and receiving more emotional intimacy from him, getting and receiving more emotional depth from him, right? So you see how strategically in each one of these points, there's like a slightly different thing that you're now chasing after, which ends up putting you in a position where you're now pursuing him. Because even in this sense here, it's an emotional need that you're pursuing. You're pursuing the depth of the relationship. You're pursuing the depth of the maybe even conversation. Because it's one thing to casually flirt with someone on a surface level or to casually flirt with them even on a personal level. It's a whole nother thing to go deep emotionally with someone in a way where you guys are having conversation that you wouldn't just have with anyone. But then when you like a guy and you feel like you're not getting enough out of him, you're not pulling that good information, you're not having those good in-depth conversations, well, now you start leaning forward and you start saying, well, what can I do to get that out of you? I don't feel like I'm getting that depth. And now you start slowly but surely, you start working for him. You start chasing after him. You start saying, what do I need to do to get that depth out of you? What do I need to do to get you to feel comfortable? What do I need to do this? What do I need to do to get you in this place? What do I need to do to get you to start talking about these things? And once again, your mind has went into, I need to do something for you in order to get access to you mode. It's very dangerous for you, okay? We don't want you in I need to do something for you to get access to you mode. We want you in I'm ready to receive mode, receive information, receive love, receive adoration, receive you, and analyze you. And in the process of that, I'm deciding for myself if I should be giving and entrusting my heart and soul into you. Now, I'm not saying be a selfish person and never want to give a man anything ever and never be nice to a man. But what I am saying is the emotional state that you go into a relationship with will drastically change what you receive out of it. If you're going in there with the emotional state that I need to do things in order to prove myself to you, especially for you as a woman, you'll automatically begin losing because you'll start taking on very masculine energy. The phone and the social media can be such a good way to trigger you and get you to chase. Why? Because he is smart enough, okay? Men aren't dumb, to know certain types of posts, whether it be of him with other people, of him with his casual friends, of him with his friend group, of him with two plates, but we can't see who's on the other side. We can't see if the nails are a fresh set of French tips or if they're man hands. And posts like that will trigger you. Why will they trigger you? Because you'll begin to question, where is he at? What is he doing? And who is he with? So now that you're questioning these things and you're wondering, where is he at? Who is he with? And what is he doing? You're now triggered. What does the trigger lead to when you're not emotionally aware of what he's trying to do here? You will crash out. The kids say crash out, so I'm using the term crash out. For those of you who don't know the term crash out, that just means to go crazy on him, okay? Calling his phone, spam calling him, spam texting him, where are you at? What are you doing right now? Okay? Even replying to a story, who is that? Please don't ever do that, okay? Right? All of these type of things that you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's the one that posted that and he's the one that triggered me. So I'm just responding to the ways that he triggered me. Why would he post that, Tomisin? He's such a bad person for posting that. But the reality of it is, this is a great strategy. If he feels like you're not invested enough, you're not on the hook enough, right? Because men will meet you and they'll say to themselves, I don't like how cool she's being. She's being way too cool. Because you want to know how men receive that when you're being very cool while dating them? They think, oh, she's not invested enough. So they'll do things and claim that they're naive to it. They'll do things to trigger you, to see if they can get you, to show that you're more invested, to show that you care more. Now, there's nothing wrong in itself with caring about a guy. But what I don't want is I don't want you to be able to be triggered by these attempts to get you to crash out so that you can show him that you care. Because as this happens, you'll begin starting to lean forward once again, right? Now, instead of chasing the experience or chasing being a wife, you're now chasing answers. You're trying to get out of him. What is it that you're doing? Who is it that you're spending time with? Where are you at, right? How long are you going to be there? When are you going to get home? Things and questions that you have that you'll feel like I need the answer now. If you don't tell me the answer, I'm going to go crazy on you. I'm going to call you 50 times until I get that answer. I'm going to message you 50 times until I get that. I'm not going to be able to eat. Some of you, tell me in the chat, when you see your man post or the guy you're talking to, you see him post something questionable, how many of you feel uncomfortable with eating? You can't even eat now. You can barely even sleep now. Now you're up. You can't even focus on what you're doing anymore. Okay? This is very bad. Okay? So it's that I feel nauseous. right? This is very bad. And even if you do feel that way, we don't want you acting out on that and letting him know you feel that way. Because similar to how I described that emotional spiral, once you start it, it's so hard to stop it. Because once you start the element of the crash out where you're like, what are you doing? Where are you at? I'm going to call you 50 times. I need answers right now. You can't stop yourself. Once you start, get it going and the ball's rolling, it's very hard to pull yourself back because now you feel yourself going crazy. And once you feel yourself going crazy, you're like, there's no point in me trying to save this now. I just have to go crazy until I get the answers that I want. Point number 6 is the clown show. What I want you guys to, in all seriousness, see firsthand is something that a lot of guys will do when they try and get you to do work for them while they simultaneously do nothing for you. This is a great narrative to paint that guys will do to get you in the right place, in the right headspace for them to take advantage of you. They'll say things like, hey, I really like you. You know, I really want us to work out. You know me, I want us to work out. I really want us to get married. Me, I want everything. But see, here's the thing. You and the way that you're acting, see, you're so cool, right? And you take your time to message me back. It just really makes me feel like your interest is low. I feel like you're not really all there with me. I feel like you're not really paying attention to me. I feel like I want to get married to you, but I just feel like you're so unserious. I can't really get you to focus on me the way that I focus on you. All I think about is being with you all day, every night, every second. And I just feel like you're not really there emotionally. I'm putting in so much more effort than you. I'm starting to lose a little bit of interest in the fact that I don't think you're doing as much for this relationship as I'm doing for you. So you want to know what happens now? You start saying, okay, I'm scared of the idea that I might lose you now because you're communicating to me, because my therapist always says communication is key. And my man, or the guy that I like, is communicating to me that he feels like I'm not as interested in him as he's interested in me. He feels like I don't text him as much as he texts me. He feels like I'm not really caring about this relationship as much as he cares about me. But what happens next is you do the worst thing you could possibly do. You create a clown out of yourself. That's why I'm calling this point a clown show. Because your clown version of you overcompensates for everything that he was saying you weren't doing. Playing it cool, sitting back, relaxing, receiving, not doing too much, right? Not crashing out. Now, what does clown you do? Clown you is a crash out now. Clown you is a textaholic. Clown you is available 24/7. And all the other things that I tell you never to do. Why? Because you now think that it's necessary for you to overcompensate to show him, no, I do have interest in you. No, I do want this as bad as you want this. No, I want to make this relationship work too. But the problem is, as you're overcompensating and turning into a clown, that is not a bad drawing, chat. That's not a bad drawing. As you're overcompensating and turning yourself into a complete clown, he then pulls back all of the interest that he was once showing you. And now as you continue to overcompensate and turn into more and more of a clown, he slowly dwindles away on the amount of effort he was putting in towards you. And now you're the one doing all the work. And you don't realize just how fast it happened because he was able to switch the places in which you were paying attention, right? You were once paying attention to observing him and observing his actions. Then once he got your anxiety rolling that maybe he might walk away, maybe he might stop showing you interest now, maybe he might be the one that says, hey, you're the one that ruined this. You're the one that messed this up for us because I wanted something and you didn't want the same thing. And you start feeling FOMO because you're like, oh my gosh, what if we do break up and it's my fault? What if we do break up and it's because I wasn't showing enough interest? And as soon as you get there mentally, now you're going to start doing things that you were regularly never going to do. Now you start trying to impress him, text him, call him, reach out to him in ways that you know you shouldn't be doing. And this is the craziest part about this because I know how the spiral goes. Once you get on this path and you start creating a clown out of yourself, it gets very difficult to stop yourself at that point, even when you recognize you're being a clown. So what I mean by that is, let's say for the sake of example, he tells you, yeah, you haven't never been calling me, so I really would love for you to start calling me more, for me to start feeling like you actually care about this and want this relationship. Then when you start calling him more, either he doesn't pick up, or he's very aloof, or he seems very disinterested himself. But now that you started making a clown out of yourself, instead of you pulling your energy back, you keep calling him more, and you keep calling him more. And now you get to the point in your relationship where it's literally went from him calling you all the time to him calling you some of the time to now he calls you none of the time and you're doing all the calling. And it happens just like that in a flash. Point number 7 about response time. When a guy starts off with you, when he's dating you or talking to you in this talking stage, and you get used to a particular style of texting that he has, and you also get used to a particular frequency of texting that he has with you. Now you start to identify that as a pattern of how he communicates with you. The thing is though, even if, and trust me, I've seen this happen so many times, it's even painful for me when I hear it. Even if you go into your talking stage feeling like, I'm kind of detached. Yeah, he texts me all the time, but Tomisin, I watch your show all the time. So it doesn't even faze me. I don't text him back that much. I literally say word for word exactly what you tell me to say, that I'm not that good of a texter and I'm much better in person. Not a problem. But the problem is, it's only not a problem while he continues this pattern. So what happens is, when we get to the 10-minute mark, when you become accustomed to him texting you every 5 minutes, you're like, but Tomisin, it's what, like, hey, can't hate the player, hate the game. I ain't tripping. He texts me every 10 minutes. I'm still not tripping. I'm not going to text him back too crazy. I'm going to send him some pictures like you said. Tomisin, I know how to do this. I'm all goody. Then the guy that was texting you every 5 minutes starts texting you every 1 hour. Now you're a little bit more uncomfortable. Things aren't flowing as easy for you as they once were. And the 1 hour turns to 3 hours. Slowly but surely, your confidence has turned into anxiety now. And this man who was once texting you every 5 minutes, replying to you so early, you couldn't even finish your entire thought before he responded, now all of a sudden is barely even texting you. And you've gone from someone with extreme ultimate confidence to someone who has extreme anxiety, and you're sending me in a personal message saying, Tomisin, I don't know what to do because this guy was texting me every 5 minutes and I feel like now he's not texting me. I think that I ate my food the wrong way. I think I sat the wrong way when I sat down. I think I wore the wrong color dress. I think my jeans weren't tight enough. I don't know what it was that I did or I said, but all of a sudden, this man not interested in me and I need to do something about it. And my response is always do absolutely nothing. Because when this happens and when your anxiety gets triggered, any action you take from your anxiety being triggered like this by this will mean you are going in the wrong direction, right? You're only going to be digging yourself a deeper hole when your response to his response time slowing is to take action to try and stimulate him responding to you more. Let me help you understand something so you're never ever again confused when it comes to men. They will talk to you when they feel like talking to you. It sounds very simple, right? Men, when they have your number, they know how to reach you if they want to reach you. So the idea that he's not reaching you for some reason outside of his control is just a lie. Point number 8 is about competition. Don't we love competition? Now, this is also has a strategic element to it in terms of how men will present competition to you in a way that will make you feel threatened. So here's the thing, okay? There's a psychological element to this, and men aren't doing this for no reason. So let's say you're talking to a guy and all of a sudden he starts talking about his coworker, this girl coworker, in a way that makes you feel strange on the inside. He's talking about this coworker and he's like, yeah, Jennifer from my work, she is just amazing. She came in a month ago and she joined our team. When I tell you she is one of the most intelligent women I've ever met, I mean intelligent. I work with her on all of our new projects and she makes things go super fast. She is so sharp, so cunning. I don't know what I would do without her. And then you're saying to yourself, let me see a picture of Jennifer. And you look at a picture of Jennifer and you're like, oh my God, Jennifer is exactly his type. I know what his type is, and it's Jennifer. He don't just think she's smart. He thinks she's voluptuous. That's the intelligence he's seeing in her, okay? But what is this doing here to you? Okay, let's imagine you just started talking to a guy and this is what you're seeing, this is what you're hearing. This is doing something very in particular to you. It's creating competition in your mind, especially as you hear more and more stories of whether it be Jennifer, the coworker, or some other girlfriends in his life or that are around him, that you start to get a sniff, hey, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe that girl likes him, maybe this, maybe that. When this competition is created in your mind, automatically you're put in a position where you start thinking to yourself, well, maybe I need to start doing some things like we talked about earlier to prove myself as the number one, okay? I need to show him Jennifer's smart, but I'm smarter. Jennifer's hot, but I'm hotter. Jennifer's freaky, well, I'm even freakier. Just with everything, right? It starts to make you feel like you're in competition with either one woman in particular or multiple women. Once you feel like you're in competition, once again, you're gonna start chasing the number one spot because you're gonna think that, hey, I need to get the number one spot in his heart. And if I don't do everything to get this number one spot in his heart, then I'll be relegated to number 3 or number 2, wherever that is, right? Whoever. I don't wanna be in the number 3 or number 2 spot. I want to be right at the top, as we all want to be. But the reality of it is, right, when a guy is creating competition in your mind, whether there's actual competition or whether it's just the competition that you feel like there is now based on all the women who are in his life, you still can't allow this to get you out of your regular stance, get you out of your regular position, because this chasing of the number one spot comes with a lot more than you're even thinking. It comes with a lot of anxiety because having the number one spot will never even feel good enough to you when you're spending so much time and energy chasing the number one spot in his life. When you chase the number one spot in his life, even when you feel like you have it for a couple of moments, for a couple of weeks, even a couple of months, you will always be looking over your shoulder and thinking to yourself, is someone else going to take my spot if I don't continue doing the most? And what does that lead to now? That leads to you taking a lot of action towards him in order to show him that you're much more and much better than the other girls who are competing for this spot. You really can't. You really can't. And I know it sounds weird because you're thinking, well, Tomisin, then how am I supposed to get the rich and successful man who has any woman that he wants? The real reality is by doing nothing. Because the more you do nothing, the more you'll actually fit the mold of the opposite of what everyone else is showing him in his life. Because the reality of it is, the same way that you want to compete for the number one spot is the same way that all the other women will want to compete for the number one spot. And there will be a level of authenticity, I should say, when women are trying so hard to compete for that number one spot. Because even the men who have a lot of different options, even the men who can date anyone who they want, right? They're rich and successful and attractive. They can have any woman they want. Even they understand that there is an element of inauthenticity when a woman is trying so hard to be everything that you want as a man that she's not even being herself anymore. Point number 9 is about playing the victim. What victim am I referring to? I'm referring to, tell me, Chad, if you've ever had this happen to you. So a guy will essentially tell you this sob story. Tell me if you've heard this sob story before. I'll just be honest with you. I've dated many women. And in the process of me dating many women, they've all taken advantage of me, went behind my back, cheated on me with my best friend, my best of friends, in my bed, in the same bed that I sleep in. The nut stain was on my pillow. I slept on the nut stain. I've just been so hurt by so many women in my entire life. I can't trust anyone. Not even a soul. I can't even trust my pet hamster. I can't trust anyone. Every woman in my life betrays me. It's so sad. It's so tragic. All I ever wanted was for a woman to come into my life that I can trust, that will finally take care of me, that will finally do things for me, that will finally love me. I've never had it. So you start thinking to yourself, let's put some of your thought bubbles here, right? I must be different. These are things that will run through your mind, right? Not unnatural. You have empathy. You're an empathetic person. Of course, you're going to feel this way when he tells you this Crazy sob story. Now, in the process of this though, here's the thing. Even though he told you this crazy sob story, it doesn't necessarily mean that that sob story is true. But the great part about that sob story is when you feel sorry for him, it brings your walls down to say, you know what, maybe this won't be a guy who's going to take advantage of me, because clearly he's been taken advantage of in all of his past relationships. Let me let you in on a secret you may or may not know already. Anytime you meet someone and they tell you or describe their past relationships as if in all of my past relationships, I've done nothing but be a angel, sit there and take it when someone else is beating me down. They're beating me down, beating me in the face, beating me in the stomach, beating me everywhere, every which way, throwing me to the ground, throwing me everywhere. And I've just done nothing but take a beat down from women my entire life, okay? Or my exes my entire life. Anytime you meet someone who talks like that about their past relationships, they're spinning the narrative. Because the reality of it is, we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. There is no circumstance in which you can date multiple people and every aspect of the relationship is someone else's fault and they were just beating you down for no reason. So the reason I say that is because once you get the sob story and you decide to yourself that you must be different, you must make a change, you want to show him something that he's never seen before, you'll immediately start putting yourself in a position where you're doing more for him than he's doing for you. What does that also translate to? That translates to you chasing him, right? You'll start doing things that you never would do for the average man. Let me go over to your place, show you I'm different by cleaning your house. Let me show you that you can trust me, right? By texting you 24/7, giving you my location, right? Being available to you whenever you message me, whenever you call me, even when you call me the day of and you want to hang out in the next 5 minutes. Let me show you that you can trust me and you can actually rely on me, not like the other girls that have been in your life, right? That's how you start thinking. You start thinking you're showing him something different than he's seen. You're being the first girl in his life to actually treat him well, right? And you feel almost like good about the idea that you're like giving him something that he's never experienced before, but you're really not. You're really not the first. You're really not. You just got tricked by the fact that you have empathy, that he's played a good victim role, that now you want to come and you know how they say, girl, I wish I could save you, but I can't, like Drake said, because you end up trying to save him from all of the terrible, horrible, tragic things that has happened to him in his past relationships. Point number 10 is about distance. Now, I'm not talking about emotional distance. I'm actually going to be talking about physical distance, okay? Right? So the reason I'm discussing physical distance is because when you see a guy and you get accustomed to the way that he'll hug you, the way that he'll touch you, the way that he'll kiss you, the way that even he'll look at you, because that's almost a version of physical intimacy. It all makes you feel things and it all gets you used to a particular pattern from him, right? Now, let's say in this scenario, you get accustomed to all of that from him. And now you meet him one day and he's no longer giving you the same type of hugs. He's no longer touching you the same way that he used to touch you. He doesn't even kiss you the entire time you guys hang out. And you notice that the look in his eyes is very different. What is this going to do to you? You have a lot of anxiety. Now you're worried. You're worried that maybe something is going on. Very similar to competition. Once you feel that physical distance, especially when it's breaking a pattern of behavior that you become accustomed to from him, you start thinking, okay, once again, I need to fix this. You noticing a pattern here? Things that trigger your desire to start fixing, especially with the man that you just started dating, are always bad. Because for you as a woman, you can't be trying to fix anything that you didn't do and you didn't cause. When a guy changes the way he physically starts touching you, kissing you, looking at you, all of that other stuff, it's good to recognize that. It's great to observe that. But what's not good to do is to try and say, okay, let me compensate for the fact he's not doing as much as he used to do by me doing more now. Maybe I'll start being the one hugging him more. Maybe I'll start being the one kissing him more. Maybe I'll start being the one touching him more to compensate for the fact he's not doing it as much. No! What I want you to do instead instead of being baited into doing that. Because once you get on that train, it's very hard to get off. What also happens is once you get on that train, it's very hard to recognize if something has actually changed. Because your mind will initially realize the change here, but your mind won't want to stay in that place for too long. So you're going to try and compensate by hugging and touching and kissing as much as you possibly can, that you don't have to actually acknowledge that there's a difference in the way that he's acting towards you. I want you to acknowledge there's a difference in the way he's acting towards you, number one. And number two, what I also want you to do is I want you to allow yourself to see firsthand how much things have changed in the way that he's acting towards you, so that you can identify something has changed in his behavior and that there is something going on that needs to be discussed. Because it's a lot harder, or I should say it's a lot easier to not address that the fact that things have changed physically in his patterns of behavior when it's obvious that you guys are having no physical intimacy anymore because he's not doing the same things or initiating the same things that he used to, versus you overcompensating now, and then it doesn't get addressed even though you know deep down in your heart something is wrong and something is off. It's always better to recognize the pattern change and then address it by either talking about it or discussing it or whatever the case you do to address it, than pretending like it's not happening and then overcompensating yourself. And then you're in a position where now you feel like in order for you to just ignore this and not have to address it and not talk about it, you continue to have to overcompensate until you get to the point where now all of the physical intimacy that maybe he used to be the one initiating, you're now the one initiating. And because you've chosen not to discuss it, in the process of you doing all the initiating instead of doing any of the discussing or addressing, you've now put yourself in a position where now 2, 3, 4 months down the line is when you realize that his energy switched and the lack of physical initiation changed because he actually did start seeing someone else. But you didn't want to address that to yourself back then. Instead, you continued pursuing him and overcompensating for what he wasn't doing so that you wouldn't have to address that properly.